City of Lawrence Common Council. Today is May 4th, 2020, and it's 6:31 p.m. I'm now calling the meeting to order. Can everyone please stand for Pledge of Allegiance and prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we come to you so humbly. We thank you for all of the many blessings you have already given us. We ask for your wisdom and protection and mercy in these trying times. We ask for a hedge of protection for our public safety officers. We ask all these things in your glorious name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we have a quorum. All counselors are present with the exception of Counselor Wells. Next on the agenda, we have a presentation by Leslie Malachi from the Community Cupboard of Lawrence.
Good evening, everyone. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the food insecurity in Lawrence Township and to let everyone know that the Community Cupboard of Lawrence is open. We are serving anyone that comes to our food pantry. Just as a little background information, for the month of April, we served over 1,800 households, which is huge. So there's a huge need, especially during this trying time. We are open 2 days a week, 6 hours a day, and our maximum that we serve is 225 individuals. I'm open for any questions, but we just want to get the word out that we are open. We have been open, and please, if anybody is in need of food, send them our way. We have a website that anybody can connect to, and that's at the communitycupboard.com or at ecommunity.com. So all questions can be answered on that line.
So Leslie, can you provide, for those who are listening in, the address and the hours?
I can. Our address is 7101 Pendleton Pike. Our hours are Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Should we reach that 225, though, we have to close because we have reached our maximum output for the day.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Any
you're
other
welcome.
counselors with questions?
Leslie, this is Deb Whitfield. I was wondering if you could just give us a little bit of historical data pre-COVID-19. How many, was it households or was it individuals, so that we could see the difference if there was a significant increase, please, in the Lawrence area?
Absolutely. For pre-COVID in 2019, we served over 71,000 individuals. In March of 2020, we served 1,440 households. In April, we served 1,800 and I believe it was 1,822. So we've gone up over 400 households. With that being said, in March, each household was eligible to come 2 times a month. In April, they were only eligible to come 1 time a month. So that is huge.
Okay, great. Any other counselors have questions?
Yes, I still have a couple of questions. Sorry, because I just want us to understand the impact of Lawrence and the households that we're trying to serve. Leslie, is there other partnerships that the cupboard is working with, and where are you ascertaining your food from, so we can get an idea, please?
Absolutely. We receive from Hatch 1,100 dozen eggs a month. We partner with Gleaners Food Bank, and we receive a delivery from them 1 time a month. We also receive delivery from Midwest Food Bank as well as CVS warehouse. So we have all of those entities bringing food into us and supplies into us. So not only do we serve food, but with CVS delivering their food to us, we also are able to provide over-the-counter meds, feminine hygiene meds, all of those items that people are desperately in need of. We actually do have toilet tissue here and paper towels, so that's huge for a lot of people. We also receive laundry detergent as well. I think I covered all of them, Deb. I'm not sure. Did I answer all the questions?
I think so. Do we suspect any decline in our perishables to service, Lawrence?
At this time, we have received a lot of donations, and fortunately, a lot of donations continue to come in. I don't anticipate that. I kind of try to prepare for a shortage in some way. So we are very, very comfortable, at least through the month of May, I feel. If we go a little bit longer, then we're going to have to do some juggling. But currently, I think that we are doing very well, and we are providing a lot of food.
Okay, Leslie,
COVID.
good. Okay, your video just froze, but if you wanted to make any other statements, you can certainly do that. It looks like you have a connection issue.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. We do have a different model currently. We are prepackaging food boxes for the individuals that come to pick up food. So we are giving 2 large meats, canned goods, milk and eggs when we have those available, and a fruit and a fresh vegetable. So those are some of the ideas of the items that are going in the boxes. And then the individual comes to our door, we take a name and we pass them a box. After COVID and prior to COVID, each shopper was allowed to come in and choose their own items, but because of the social distancing, we are doing that for them now.
Thank you, Leslie, so much for your time. We appreciate you joining and providing that update for us and for the community. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Next on the agenda, we have Brad Klopfenstein from the Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce. I probably didn't get that right, but Brad, you're up.
I do work for the Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce. Madam President, how are you?
Good. You have the floor.
All right. So just to give you a little update, obviously there's not a lot of retail activity going on or just business activity. And I think there's a lot of businesses that are trying to feel their way through this. And most people are going to have to learn how to reinvent themselves to some degree once this is done. We've been helping as many members as we can get in touch with the right people to get their PPP loans, their other SBA loans, any other assistance that might be out there. And largely, we're just trying to be cheerleaders for Lawrence. Obviously, once this is over, I think there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand for our retailers as well as our manufacturers. So we hope that that's going to be good in the future. Some of the things that we've been putting together just throughout this time, every Wednesday at 1:30, the Greater Lawrence Chamber does what we're simply calling Chamber Chat. It's a Zoom meeting. The code to get in is on our Facebook page. We also send it out in our chamber emails each week. And it's anybody. It's typically been elected officials. We've had an accountant who's very familiar with SBA loans. This week we have Kimball Richardson from Community Health Networks coming on to talk about mental health impacts of this and how to maintain your own personal sanity. So we do that. We urge everybody to join us. We're doing a Thursday happy hour every week at 5, and starting in mid-May and throughout the summer months on Wednesdays from 5 until 8-ish, we're doing just a cruise-in car show. It's going to be on Otis Avenue between Lawton Loop West Drive and Lawton Loop East Drive. We encourage anybody with a classic car, come out, show it off, hang out, maintain your social distancing, and enjoy some outside weather in beautiful Lawrence.
Okay, thank you. Any counselors have questions?
Madam President, I just wanted to let you know Councilor Giles' computer just died. I'm trying to help him get back in with his phone.
So he's back in now, Chris. Thank you.
Oh, okay, good.
So, Counselor Rusamoroff, if you want to make a comment, just take yourself off mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry about that. I just had one question on the total number of SBA loans that you have assisted with and/or the PPP assistance. Do you have any sort of numbers on those right now?
So unlike the Indy Chamber that's actually processing those, the Greater Chamber was not actively involved in those. So we're sure that we've talked to all the commercial banks that are in the Lawrence area to make sure that they know what's going on. We know what. We don't have a good for it, although my impression is that most businesses that have fewer than the 500 have applied for a loan and received varying amounts of money. But I would guess probably 75% have applied. I haven't heard the total number as far as a percentage on how many have been approved. Not everybody's getting 100% of what they asked for, but I think everybody's getting something.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other counselors?
Yes, Madam President, this is Councilor Whitfield. I would like to know, back on Maria's question, so you don't have any breakdown of Lawrence businesses that have applied for loans and the demographics? Was any small businesses or diversity numbers? We don't have anything like that available to us?
No, the Indiana Chamber might have that, but most of that is being controlled by the Small Business Administration. Early on in that process, we tried to get more involved, but most of the big banks were shutting out folks like us. So they asked their clients to come straight to them. So I'm sure that the state will, or at least the feds will give a breakdown on that at some point, but I haven't seen those numbers.
Okay, thank you.
Any other counselors? Okay, seeing none, thank you, sir, for your time and for the great information. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have a presentation by Lawrence Township Trustee, Steve Talley. He's going to come forward and he has a PowerPoint presentation that he's going to share with us this evening.
Thank you very much, Madam President, for inviting me to make this presentation. In March 25th, 26th, after the governor declared the emergency, COVID-19 emergency, and this is something that we have been planning to do in 2021. However, it caused us to move a lot faster. And our overall goal was to eliminate or reduce the number of folks who were coming into our office and doing face-to-face interviews with our case managers. Sean Denny I saw him on the Zoom presentation. So, Sean, if there's anything you can add as we go through this, I would appreciate hearing from you.
Absolutely.
The first 11 slides just kind of tells you a little bit about the office. And so we'll go through those rather quickly because I think that the information that you are wanting to hear probably start on slide number 12. And we are just about there. Okay. We implemented a new Lawrence Township trustee application procedure designed to limit the number of in-person contacts with our clients to the fullest extent possible. And it does so by asking our clients to complete and submit their applications online rather than in person. And we also ask our clients to participate in an interview via video conferencing or telephonic means rather than in person while attempting to obtain all legal required signatures electronically rather than in person whenever possible, and providing that the trustee decision will be provided to clients electronically or telephonically rather than in person. And the steps that we took to emphasize and require appropriate respiratory etiquette and hand hygiene in all employees, while also emphasizing the importance of routine environmental cleaning. I also reduced our operating hours and reminded our staff to do the following: regular cleaning high-touched areas, reviewing the CDC instructions, installing a plexiglass barrier in our lobby area to prevent our clients from leaning over the counter and perhaps causing harm to our front office staff. And we remind the staff of we constantly remind the staff of our open door policy regarding COVID-19 issues, and encourage team members to speak up about anything that would be further improved to protect them and any possible related COVID-19 issues. Now, the next 6 slides, 3 of them are the traditional way, and the slide following that would be the new way of doing business in our office. So the initial contact was phone, email, social media, and we had an open door where visitors could come into our office without an appointment. And they would physically sign in the sign-in sheet and verify their address, number of residents in their household, provide the other information that we would need in order to make a determination on the eligibility of receiving relief from the trustee's office. The applicant would take about an hour and a half to 2 hours to complete that paperwork while they're in the office, and then there would be a face-to-face interview with our case managers. Now we're talking about close to 2.5 to 3 hours of interacting with our clients in our office. Now, the new way of doing this, we talk with our clients. Our clients would call in. We would or email us or contact us through social media, and at that point we would email them the application. We would then have that interview through Zoom or over the phone interview, and we now are engaged in DocuSign, where we get all of our documents signed electronically, and applications are sent to the client at the time that they call in through email. They give us permission to use their email for contact. And also, let me add that we, for the month of April, we processed 68 applications. One of those applications was over the phone, one of those applications was video conferencing, and the client had to come in our office because they did not have access to internet or a phone. But they still did not have face-to-face contact with the client because we have a laptop set up in the interview room, so the case manager never ever come in direct contact with that client.
Trustee Talley, if you don't mind me just adding one comment to that for you. One of the things that we've been able to help out by utilizing this process is individuals who are quarantined and not able to leave their home but still need assistance are able to apply for trustees' assistance using this method. It's been approved by the State Board of Accounts, the paperwork that we utilize, and there's been several that have utilized that just couldn't leave their home and needed assistance to stay in their house.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Denny. And actually, we did have one client who was COVID-19 positive, and they used that. That was about the second case that we had. So we found that that was a very effective way of working with our clients. And in addition, we found that it reduced the amount of time because by emailing the application to the client, they're able to complete the application. And if they need any supporting documents, they can go, they don't have to make a second trip down to our office to bring that supporting document. So all the work is done right there in their home. Now, we're about at the last slide to where we either grant approval, denial, or close the case. And here, I've said earlier that all that is done electronically. And I think that we will find that we have reduced the amount of time it takes to process a claim by at least 2 hours. And in addition to being able to process a client without coming face-to-face with that client, this provides a certain level of security for our case managers, because from time to time, if a person might be denied, then there might be a negative reaction that would involve disruptive behavior in our office with our client. So this protects our case managers. So I appreciate you coming, Madam. Inviting me to come.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. I'm going to just see if any counselors have any questions for you. So counselors, do you have any questions for Trustee Talley? Okay, seeing none. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you taking your time to give us that update. Okay, next on the agenda, we have comments of council members and special recognition or resolutions. Do we have any?
Madam President?
Go
Yes,
ahead,
Counselor Freeman, and then Counselor Denny.
Thank you.
Okay, I would like to thank the Department of Public Works for filling the potholes on 56th Street and inside Keniston Farms. Some of our residents were outside working in the yards that day, and they kind of cheered them on. And they were asking about all the events that were done last year in the city of Lawrence. They've noticed that the 4th of July is canceled and the parade is canceled, and they were asking about the market day at Fort Bend and the first Fridays with the music. And I told them I would check, but I believe everything would be canceled because of COVID-19. Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll get an update from Mayor Collier, and I'm sure he's prepared to cover those, so thank you. Counselor Denny?
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to acknowledge this week is Teacher Appreciation Week in, statewide and I think nationwide. And a lot of our families are recognizing the hard work our Lawrence Township teachers do with their children as they're homeschooling their own kids at home. I know we are appreciating our first grade teacher very much at this moment. In considering our guest, I wanted to just highlight something that came to my attention a few hours ago. There's an organization called the Local Initiative Support Corporation, and starting tomorrow, they're giving out 5,000 grants for minority, immigrant, and women-owned businesses that have 1 to 10 employees in Marion County. That application process is Tuesday through Friday, so it just runs this week, and it goes live on their website tomorrow.
Thank you, Counselor Denny. Any other counselors?
What was the name of that again? Local initiative?
Can you, I'm sorry, Counselor Denny, can you repeat the name of the initiative, please, for the record?
Sure, it's the Local Initiative Support Corporation, and their website is lisc.org.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Whitfield.
Yes, Madam President, thank you. I'd like to also make notice that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and seeing that the Lawrence Chamber president announced that Kimball Richardson from Community Health Network will be speaking on that. So as we continue to move forward and support all our frontline caregivers, we also need to make sure we mention mental health.
Thank you. Any other counselors? Okay, seeing none. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes of regular meeting, April 6th, and special meeting, April 15th, 2020. Is there a motion?
Yes, Counselor, I'd like to make a motion.
Motion, Counselor Giles.
Second.
Second, Counselor Freeman. Any discussion? All in favor?
We're doing a roll call, right?
Roll call, Counselor Rusamorov.
Aye.
Counselor Whitfield.
Aye.
Counselor Russell.
Aye.
Counselor Chevlot.
Aye.
Counselor Denny.
Aye.
Counselor Freeman.
Aye.
Counselor Giles. Okay, motion passes unanimous. Next, we have approval of minutes, signing of vouchers, approval of claims, and authorization of payment for April 15th and May 4th, 2020. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve?
Motion, Counselor Chevlot.
Second.
Second, Counselor Denning. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Counselor Rusamorov.
Aye.
Counselor Whitfield.
Aye.
Counselor Russell.
Aye.
Counselor Chevlot.
Aye.
Counselor Denny.
Aye.
Counselor Freeman.
Aye.
Counselor Giles. Counselor Giles. Okay,
And Counselor Chavis.
Madam Chair, don't forget to vote yourself.
yes. I've approved, I've already signed them, so yes. Counselor Chavis. All right. Next, we have reports of committee.
So you did both those together, not separate?
There are none. Unfinished business. There is none. New business, proposal number 4, 2020. I will ask the clerk to read it by title.
Proposal number 4, 2020, introduced by Counselor Freeman, a proposal for an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, amending the Lawrence Municipal Code to establish no parking zones along Otis Avenue and Wheeler Road for the Indigo Purple Line.
Okay, that will be assigned to code, and I think Counselor Giles has some information to provide in terms of date and time of the code meeting. So I think Counselor Giles wanted to communicate that the code meeting will be on May 20th at 5:45.
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor Giles. Next, we have proposal number 5, 2020.
Madam President, I would like to make a motion
gonna
that we
read it.
suspend the ruling.
Okay, and
You want me to read it by title
clerk,
first?
if you can go ahead and read it by title.
Proposal number 5, 2020, introduced by Counselor Chavis, a proposal for an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Lawrence, Indiana, amending civil salary ordinance in the event of a public emergency declaration.
Okay, there's a motion by Counselor Whitfield. Is there a second?
A second.
Second, Counselor Freeman. This requires a unanimous vote. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor by by roll call. Counselor Rusamorov.
Aye.
Counselor Whitfield.
Aye.
Counselor Russell.
Aye.
Counselor Chevlot.
Aye.
Counselor Denny.
Aye.
Counselor Freeman.
Aye.
Counselor Giles.
Aye.
Okay, so motion to suspend carries unanimous. Now, is there a motion to pass proposal number 5, 2020?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to pass proposal number 5, 2020.
Okay, motion, Counselor Whitfield. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Counselor Freeman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor by roll call. Counselor Rusamorov,
Aye.
Counselor Whitfield,
Aye.
Counselor Russell,
Aye.
Counselor Chevlot,
Aye.
Counselor Denny,
Aye.
Counselor Freeman,
Aye.
Counselor Giles.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimous for proposal number 5, 2020. Next, we have comments of the administration. And I'm going to ask Mayor Collier to come forward to provide an update.
Thank you, President Chavis. I've already been warned by my police chief that I'm to speak loudly so that you can all hear me. Apparently there's trouble with the mic, so bear with me a little bit here. Lisa, I do want to thank you for this opportunity because it gave me an opportunity to sit back and think about what all has happened in the last 6 to 8 weeks, and it was very reflective on my part. So I'll try to go over here with you. I actually wrote all this down so I wouldn't forget anything, but I'll try to go over this idea of what happened here. The emergency order, declaration stay-at-home order impacting the city services had zero impact upon fire, police, and EMS personnel, as they are of course, considered essential personnel. As a result, largely all but a select office personnel has been at work every day. To date, we have not had any member of LPD who has tested positive for COVID-19. Keep your fingers crossed. The same cannot be said of LFD, firefighters, and EMS. At one point, we had 26 people quarantined because of possible exposure and 5 who tested positive. Of those who tested positive, 1 was asymptomatic, the other 4 had only relatively mild cases, none requiring hospitalization. As of today, only 1 firefighter remains unable to report to duty. As for the rest of the city, to my knowledge, we have had no positive tests for those of us who have been asked to continue to come into work. Some DPW, controller staff, and utility workers have been asked to come into work on an as-needed basis. Support staff for the mayor's office have, to a very large extent, been working from home. It was my expressed wish that all exempt employees would work from home if they could, but they were free to come into work if they had no exposure to the virus. I must call out right now a few people who have certainly responded. Jim Hennigan, Paul Warner, Scott Salisbury, and Jason Fenwick have not missed a day since we started this. They've been very helpful. Sharon, I want to thank you for personally calling out DPW men who have had to come in and fill potholes. They will be coming in even greater numbers starting this week to try to get caught back up. Most members of my administrative staff came to work every day, and again, for that, I'm exceedingly grateful. We had planned to reopen completely today. In fact, we had a very lengthy meeting last week in which Jeanette Jackson spent nearly 2 hours talking about preparations that we would need to make in order to bring employees back into the buildings. We are prepared. We were prepared today to do that, but we are also realized that May 15th is now the new starting date. Every employee will have access to a mask. We have hand sanitizer in every facility. We have made every precaution. We sanitized every building. Just last Friday, for the 3rd time, the PAR and other buildings were sanitized by Dino Batalis and Jim Hardy. And Dino, who else was with you? Chief Wallace, who came in and spent almost 3 hours sanitizing every facility we had. So I feel very comfortable we've done all we can to keep everything safe. There's little reason to debate at this point, but I can certainly understand the frustrations felt by many. The absolute toughest part of this situation from a leadership perspective is to try to predict when is the right time to begin opening up. As was evidenced in the replies on a very recent decision I made over the weekend about July 4th, I'd never been called a Nazi before, and now apparently I am one. We will move on. We now know, as I'll refer to later, some of the things that we have to endure as we continue to open up. As we've said before, and in our message we try to send to other people, that we are in a position in which we can get better, and we will be better because of this, but we still have some work to do. Some good news. 2 weeks ago, we learned the City of Lawrence has received the full $1 million match from the Community Crossroads Matching Grant. This will allow us to eclipse $8 million in total paving projects in the last 4 years. The projects submitted for 2020 will be Harrison Park Subdivision, Samuel Record Subdivision, and the Harmon Way complete reconstruction. That's very good news for us that we've heard that. That will continue to go on along with patching and strip patching by DPW staff. On April 21st, the City of Lawrence Public Safety Team, along with Aaron and Scott Maskell, organized an awesome salute to our healthcare professionals. Deputy Chief Woodruff, on a simple ask on my part, made a few phone calls. Within 4 hours, we had 23 departments from all over the city join us, resulting in 70-plus police cars, engines, ladders, an ambulance, and our MRAP driving over the community north. Included in that was over 100 citizens who joined in with Aaron and Scott Maskell to follow along in the parade. It was quite an experience for all who were involved, and to see the reaction of the nurses and the healthcare personnel was worth every moment we spent on preparing it. I cannot believe that this all came together in less than 3 hours, and we're able to pull it together and show our appreciation for those people. Hopefully, all of you got a chance to see the A-10s fly over this afternoon, or Saturday afternoon. With the help of Daniel Byer, who, by the way, is recently married, congratulations, Daniel, we've put together a few videos that have been informational and we hope to a degree inspirational. Brad Coffin's team put together a Zoom meeting that enabled me to share with over 60 participants how the city has been impacted by COVID-19 and how we've adjusted. I must warn all of you that the city has been targeted for several spam phishing events. Luckily, Sandy has got ahead of the game, but we, like nearly every other city in the nation during this event, have been targeted by hackers nearly constantly over the last 6 weeks. In the first week alone, Sandy's people were able to intercept and to shut down 15 different attempts to hack into our system. That being said, I want to caution each of you that if you use city email, to please be careful whatever it is you forward. Many of the emails coming in, if you don't recognize them or haven't sought out them, may have attachments to them, and they may be a part of a bot. And as you can see on our city website, look under July 4th events canceled, and you'll see the evidence of what a bot can do to the reputation of your city. We now know those bots are out there, and they will continue to be out there for the very certainly the near future. So be aware, simply be aware. We are currently having all of our city employees go through actually a test, in which we're going to test them and answer that and how they answer and what emails they answer and respond to make sure we are as safe as we can be. How can you help? Please do not assume that things you hear going on in the city from any outside source are accurate. You may have already have been targeted by someone called, I think it was called Filter Flag or something like that, that was sent out and forwarded. It had a bot attached to it. It also had some unfortunate disinformation in it. We got out ahead of that. It didn't cause a big problem for us, but it could certainly in the near future. Much of this will change very soon, as now that city employees will be back in full force trying to play catch up for a while in a whole bunch of aspects. Streets will receive a lot of attention as we fill potholes and strip patch areas. Utility will continue full speed ahead on the variety of infrastructure projects planned. We will continue toward the remodel of the government center and try to plan for its most efficient use for the future. As Sharon certainly mentioned, and Sharon, I want to get to that right now. Just like every other city around us, most of our summer events have been canceled. It isn't due to an abundance of caution that that's happening. If someone were to ask me today, when do I think we'll be able to truly open up? I think in some respects I can tell you that I imagine that by the 1st of July or so, we'll be moving towards normal. but I don't think normal will come back to us for the remainder of this year. We will continually open up each week and reevaluate, and we certainly hope that we'll get back to a semblance of normalcy as we approach the fall. I've already heard and spoken with educators who believe that there is a very real possibility now that school may open up again in August sometime. We have to all hope that. And Counselor Denny, I know that hearing you talk about your child's first grade teacher, many of us have a newfound respect for exactly what teachers do during the day. As you come back, starting in June, we will have a couple of major projects that will be proposed for consideration in the coming weeks. The first will be the previously mentioned replacement for Station 38. We are doing our homework as an administration to get you as fully prepared and as much information shared with you as possible prior to that introduction. We are targeting, hopefully, the first week in June, but we aren't going to rush anything through. I want to thank each of you for your dedication in hanging with the city. It has not been easy. It certainly was not the way I wanted to begin my first year of my second term, but it certainly has been one in which we've learned an awful lot about each other. I am continually impressed by the dedication and certainly the way that people come together and have come together and helped each other out throughout this crisis. It certainly says so much about the city of Lawrence, and it was great to be able to see just that one evening when we had so many people jump in and participate over there at Community North to see what truly Lawrence is all about. So thank you very much for this time, and President Shaves, I'll hand it back over to you now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the update, and thank you for your leadership in making those tough decisions that are the right decision to protect our city. So I really do appreciate that. Also, I did want to point out that all the counselors weren't able to make the Community Health Appreciation Drive-By, but Counselor Rusamoroff was able to represent the council at that event, and I want to acknowledge and appreciate her for representing the council at that event.
Glad to do it.
Okay, next we have citizens' comments. We did not receive any citizens' comments. Just as a reminder for our citizens that you can call in to 463-777-8704. That information is available on the city website on the agenda. It includes the participation code. If you would like to provide comments remotely, we'd ask you to do that. I'm just going to pause for one moment, and we're going to just check and make sure that we don't have any citizens that are standing by to make comments. So let's just take a brief recess for about 2 minutes, and we'll check the line, and if we have no comments, we will adjourn shortly thereafter. Thank you. There are no citizens' comments. We are adjourned.